this is probably the first fun dungeon in terms of having different mechanics, bosses anyway. Whereas the first three all had maybe one or two, or not one or two, had one boss that had something special about it. This one, I think every boss has something special about it. It should be a pretty easy run through because we have a warrior and a scholar over the base classes. But as per usual for the Arcanist class, you will be using the shots to begin with. It's obviously the goal to keep your dots up as much as possible on all targets, since it becomes a little bit easier later in higher levels when you have something that can spread them, but unfortunately I don't have that yet, so I have to settle with this. Also helps if my arrow decides to stack. That would be nice. Well, that looks like it's going to be a pain that I have to actually switch. To obey every time. I did not realize that. That is why I wish the Arcanist was actually a ranged class, because it would be nice if I could auto attack in between the casts. Unfortunately, you have to go up close and personal, it seems, to whack them with a buck, which makes sense. And you don't really want to do that as an Arcanist. Here we are at the first boss, which is a relatively easy fight, but actually takes some thought process if you do it in a specific way. It all depends on what the party decides, because it spawns add-ons, which are a pain, but you can, if the healer's good enough anyway, just ignore them. And focus on killing the boss, which is the quickest possible way. I believe the Lancer is over there killing the add-ons, which means they're not reaching the fire, which means that we're not losing out on, or not getting hit by the damage from them. If anything, it'll probably be me doing that, because I'm sure he does more damage outside of the dots, which I can keep up anyway. But in my mind, it's not even that important of a thing to do, because it doesn't do all that much damage as long as your healer is actually healing. As you should see in just a second, that's 42 damage, that's not even a tenth of my health. Then as you can see, the healer can heal me up really quickly anyway. It's even easier, especially considering that a lot of the time I'm sure your healer will be a conjurer who actually has Medica at this level and can just AoE heal everybody. At this part, you got that chain winch. All of the chain winches have to be activated so you can get to the next boss. And they will spawn one of 3 things, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure if I'm right on 3, but it can either be a treasure chest, a bomb that instantly explodes, or the lightning strikes there that you saw. Hopefully I will get to show off in this, but there's no guarantee, unfortunately. So we'll just have to see how lucky we are. Lucky enough, the one that the tank decided to skip was actually a treasure chest. I don't think it's random. No, I think it is random, not fixed, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Typical party will usually target the Pythons first because they do the most damage, and I believe they cause poison to whoever they attack, which can cause problems for the healer and potentially kill the tank. That is one thing I like to see, that the tank is actually very patient. A lot would not be. Well, would have just rushed ahead and started fighting no matter who had went to get that treasure chest down there. I've seen times as that they will ignore the fact that the healer isn't there, run in, die, and then blame the healer, when it's clearly not the healer's fault that they weren't patient, basically. Hopefully the last change will be nice enough so I can actually show you what I meant by the Um, what am I looking for? The bombs. Like the last one of the 3 random things that appear when you press the chain link. So, moment of truth. Nope. More lightning sprites. For this next boss, which is the Thunderclap Grove, I'm probably butchering that name, but he electrocutes the water at times, and obviously that makes it harder to fight him in it. No. Obviously, I hurt light in it. Like, this is the example. Anytime you're in it, he will... anytime you're in it, he'll take damage, and he is actually invincible while the lightning sprites are active. He also fires, like, splats of lightning like that. So be a ball of lightning with splash damage. And obviously you want to dodge out of the way anytime that happens because it hurts quite a bit. Especially on a squishy target, squishy class like the Arcanist. And that was weird. It was... tell me it was targeting the one in front of me, but I couldn't actually target it. But for the most part, it's a fairly easy fight. It's just the mechanic of not standing in the water, especially when it's electrocuted, and avoiding AoEs, as well as killing the sprites when they appear. And as per usual on things like bombs, just like in any previous Final Fantasy game if you've played them, they will explode eventually, or self-destruct, or I don't know if it's always called self-destruct as their attack, but it's the general basic lines of bombs, like, yeah, self-destruct there. You do not want to be in that, no matter what class you are, or it will hurt a lot. I don't know if it will always kill you if you're a tank, especially a higher health tank like a warrior or marauder, but it's not worth finding out, basically, is what I'm saying. There is actually a secret boss at that, it's like a mini boss at that treasure coffer, which is just a Pieste. Probably butchering that name as well, but I digress. Let's see, this is Kangada. For the most part, it's a simple boss. So there's nothing much to him other than when he spawns ads, he becomes invincible. So obviously, you don't want to attack him while he's in that, and you want to kill the ads as soon as possible so that you can get back to attacking him. And while he's in that form there, he, as you saw, fires AoE attacks. There are fireballs at, I believe it's random people. That's the only way it would make sense if it was me. Actually, I don't think you need to kill those ones. You do need to kill the fire sprite though. Otherwise, the thing that's cool about those ones, it's just like the first boss where you get an AoE on you. And at this point, I think it's just all Delantis right here, so you get the AoE attack. You can see it does, what, 40 damage to me, which cumulatively does hurt, but it should be over by the time. It actually makes a difference.